I'm Jamie Sykes with Torch Media. I'm in North Buxton, which is a very small and very tight-knit community in Chatham, Kent. They even have their own very well-attended homecoming celebration every Labor Day weekend. For the past 3 years, however, they've been struggling to retain control of a church that they not only say is the heart of their community, but also an icon of Black emancipation. Having accepted the conditions years ago, the BME Conference are the legal owners. The North Buxton Community Church was getting ready to say goodbye to their building for good. But even as the moving trucks were arriving, the community received some extraordinary news.
As of Thursday, we were vacating this building. We were going with the best understanding that we had, doing what we felt would be the right and upright thing to do. A lawyer has stepped forward to fight our case. He believes it's a strong case. He believes that it's such a strong case that he's willing to do it for free.
Would you be able to speak to North Buxton as a community and its history?
Yes, this community has a very long history. The very early beginnings of this community came out of efforts of Reverend William King, who decided to develop a planned community for freedom seekers coming into Canada. And so in 1850, 1851, he purchased land through some support with the church and sold some of the land plots to early freedom seekers. And so out of that, the community was born. The establishment of church and the school, homes and businesses, and flourished from there.
They came to Canada for sort of the surety of freedom. As time went on, they needed a bigger sanctuary, and they purchased this in 1866 and built the church the next year. People started to be buried in the 1860s. And so this church has been a part of the community since that time. And it's such an important part. It's where we were christened when we were babies, where we went to Sunday school.
And you said goodbye to loved ones as well in this building.
Oh, yes, that's one of the, certainly the things that attaches us probably most closely is when it's our turn to take our seats in the front rows when our family dies and their funerals are here and they are buried in the cemetery. Of course, what an emotional attachment that is.
So it really is the heart of the community.
Oh, you bet it is.
How important are physical monuments to Black history?
Well, they are very important. As the OBHS, we are, very involved and supportive of preserving Black history across the province. And so these monuments are markers of the presence of people who have been here for a long time and who have contributed and helped to make their local communities and the province what it is today. And so to have these places where those who are immediately connected can hang on to them, but also people, for example, young people, students, and people from other places can learn about these places and actually be in that particular environment. I think it's very important for us to preserve that and maintain that for longevity.
The church here in Buxton was dissatisfied with the conference. As far as ministers, they weren't able to send us a minister. Just the growth of the church wasn't happening, and the conference wasn't able to help with that. We decided that it would be in our best interest to separate ourselves from the conference and have a community church.
And how was that received?
They received it, and there was some concern about it, and there was a bit of back and forth, a little bit of wrangling that went on, and there was legal advice that was sought on both sides, and then it was dropped. There was no more said for probably 11 years.
And then the church came under new management?
The conference came under say the superintendent, I guess I'm going to put it that way. There was a change there, and this whole thing surfaced again. What happened to that, we got a letter from the BME conference, or from the lawyer of the BME conference, giving us 3 options, and one of them was that the church could rejoin the conference, or they could lease, a corporate lease, or they could vacate the premises. And we shared our idea, and that was that we be allowed to continue to worship as we have in the past. That being said, because we had borne all the expenses, all the upkeep over however many years, and so that seemed fair.
Absolutely. Your community loved and maintained the property.
Yes. And a lease didn't seem like a practical way to go. And they offered us a lease of $500 a month, and we turned that down. That just wasn't acceptable. Then that offer was taken off the table. And then there was communication between the 2 lawyers, and there was an offer. We made an offer to purchase, and that was turned down. We made an offer to rent, and that was turned down as well. So the only option we had left was to vacate the property.
This church is the heart and soul of this community. And of course, I came out in support so that we don't want to see this church taken away from them. And we heard some good news today, but hopefully we'll hear even better news in a short haul.
So you were surprised at the turn of events today? Like, were you coming out to kind of mourn with the community, and now it's a celebration?
You know what? Actually, to be truthful with you, I mean, I came out and my heart was heavy. I thought, oh, they can't be happening in this community. I mean, it's historic. It's part of the Underground Railroad. You know, we've got a cemetery here where relatives have been buried. You know, I was talking with a neighbor who said they have a plot here, and now they're saying we're not sure what we're going to do. And of course, you know, the church in small communities is usually the center, you know, of activity. It's a hub.
It's the heart.
It is. It's the heart. And I felt like the heart was being ripped away.
My wife and I came down. We were disappointed when we talked about, isn't there something we could do? Isn't there some way we can help the congregation? And it seems to be an internal conflict, so that didn't seem to be the case. So we came here expecting to, you know, on the one hand, celebrate with people, but on the other hand, somewhat of a disappointment to see this landmark. Really, this is such an important part of our community here in Chatham-Kent, Essex. To see that be taken away was heartbreaking.
What was the mood like before everyone got the good news?
Well, I mean, going into it, a lot of people came in here, you know, really somber, feeling like this was it. This was the last time they were going to be here. And a lot of people, you know, brought a lot of the sad feelings into this. And then to hear that they've got the lawyer, to hear that they've got support, and to hear that this isn't the end of the fight, it's only the beginning of the next battle. It was good. So it was an instant switch, and everybody's now leaving smiling. Everybody in here is hugging and happy. And
how long did the somberness last in the community? Like, how long ago did all this start?
It's been building for like at least the last 3 years. You know, just a lot of back and forth with the lawyers, and there was a lot of unsureness of what was going to happen. And it's still not the end, right? It's still, they got to go through the process. So it was tough. A lot of the meetings were really somber and really sad. A lot of anger to people they don't know. So I don't know. It feels like there's light at the end of the tunnel though now, and something to look forward to.
So the mood is definitely lifted,
Absolutely.
But it was pretty bleak for
it was bleak leading up
years.
to it. For the last couple of years. You know, what's going to happen? There's so much that people didn't know.
So then today was essentially the goodbye service.
Today was the final service of the church. Because the 30th was the end date, this is the last Sunday, so yes. And so we were at a point where there wasn't any other option, and so we decided that the media we would let the media know that this is what's going on. And the outpouring of support through letting the media know has just been overwhelming.
So as you can imagine, we wanted you all here to hear this announcement. We could have canceled and said, forget it, you don't have to come. This is not going to be our last service here. But we wanted you here to be a part of this special announcement so that you can share in the joy and the excitement that is going on in our hearts, because we did not know this till Thursday night. We had movers coming in, and we're lucky we had the piano here this morning.
What are your thoughts on everything that's happened today?
When I first found out, I was devastated that such a landmark would be taken away from us. Because I've come here since I was a baby. We came every year Labor Day for the homecoming. My dad grew up here, so I have a lot of history here. I have family in this cemetery. I have family in the Baptist cemetery. So when I heard it, I was like, I had to come, because to hear that it was closing, I felt like a piece of my heart was being taken away. So when I came, I got here, we drove from Toronto, came in last night. Our car was like breaking down. I'm like, we have to get here.
And you mentioned that your family even has a street name in the community?
Exactly, we do. We have the Garrell Street over there. So the community means a lot to me. And then when the minister made the announcement that we have someone fighting for us, I felt a lot better. Like I left, I feel better now.
So you were coming to mourn, essentially,
yes,
and you ended up celebrating.
Yes, like now when we go back, I'll be like, yes, it's going to be saved. Like I don't have to worry about our ancestors that are in the cemetery, what's going to happen, who's going to take care of everything.
So people stepped up to help, and the great turnout.
The strength of the community. Look at the turnout. It's amazing. We have this great lawyer, whoever they are, to step up is amazing.
The lawyer that came forward saw this as a case. He's offering it pro bono, and so I think they'll be successful.
That's good. So today is definitely a celebration.
Oh, it's a great day. It's a great day. Look at all these people. And
fabulous.
What every church longs and hopes for is for the congregation to come back and start to grow again. And
you can feel the energy, right?
Yeah. And have you been here on Labor Day with the homecoming?
When I grew up, yes.
And that's in itself is quite a time. And so there's a lot of energy here in North Buxton. The pastor, right over there, Clark, get in here. We share grandkids. See, we got a little secret here. So his daughter and my son are married, and there's another one of our grandkids.
Hi, how are you?
So we go back a long way.
Yeah, we're friends.
No, that's great. So you're Pastor Clark, sorry?
Yes, I am.
Yes.
Yep. I go by Clark.
And then, what are your thoughts and feelings about today?
I sense this is a God move, which encourages us that what has taken place and what will take place matters to him in that sense. So I'm excited about that.
And it was mentioned this was a spiritual learning journey, as it's been years, literally.
You can imagine the complications that we go through physically as we mentally and emotionally try to decide what is the right thing to do, because that was the desire of our hearts, always to be right. It gets frustrating when it seems that the right thought, the right action, what you think is right, is going to end in defeat. But to turn around and have a possible victory in it, it's exciting.
The BME, the British Methodist Episcopal, that's their church denomination. I understand that there are new people at the helm now, and of course, who may not fully understand the historical value, of this church and this community, or perhaps even in other communities as well. So I certainly hope this is isolated, and I certainly hope that they'll have a change of heart. We can throw all kinds of lawyers and so on, but the truth of the matter lies in the fact that if they're true believers, then maybe God can change their heart and they will reconsider so that this church can continue. I mean, this is very historic, and to have the heart ripped away, don't want to see it, and I'll do whatever I can to help.
We were always optimistic. We were always optimistic that maybe some change of heart would come before the end of the month. But we were prepared to move as we had said we would do. That's our side of the bargain. Today, or a couple of days ago, 3 days ago, that wasn't an option. One day last week, Thursday I believe it was, that door opened. We're still hesitant to say we're home free because there's nothing etched in stone, there's nothing written. And so we have a concern, yes, that things could still change. They could still go in a direction that we don't want them to go. But we're certainly optimistic because of the support of the community, of the support of the public.
It would be a real shame for this passionate and truly historic community to lose control of a building that to them is the embodiment of family and fellowship stretching back generations, especially considering the fact that the building itself is an icon of Black emancipation and also is literally located in a town that was created to provide refuge for freedom seekers. There is a rumor that if worst case happens, the BME conference are going to turn the building into a religious retreat. The irony in that is just too much. How can a Christian organization take a building away from a community that is so deserving of autonomy for the superficial purpose of building a holiday attraction? For now, the community will continue their fight, finding hope in a mysterious lawyer who stepped up to help them.